if you think about this, this G factor, this grace, changes the whole framework of our thinking. Think about how the fact that God does for us what we cannot do for ourselves, how that changes the outcome of our life. Pretty significant, isn't it? So often, think about this. Grace also changes our response. Grace gives us this dynamic in our life gives us energy, gives us enlightenment, gives us empowerment, gives us all these things which help us be able to respond to our circumstances. Grace also helps us to be able to understand and see our circumstances through a different set of lenses. About 5 years ago, my mother died of lung cancer. Never smoked. She had a floral shop, and I think she probably got lung cancer from the glue that she was using. Who knows? But anyway, she had a cough. She went to her doctor, faked all of her doctors out, gave her antibiotics, got CAT scans. Everything was normal, and ended up having an advanced, rare kind of lung cancer. It's frustrating for me because I like to fix things, and I couldn't fix my mother. And I was watching my mother shrivel away with chemotherapy. And my mom was a pack rat. She would love this house, by the way. She would freak out in this house. She saved things and had all these little things. And as my mother was dying, it's funny when you're dying, folks come by to visit. Come by to kind of pay their last respects. And people were coming by to pay their last respects. And my mother said, "Chuck, let's get out of here." So I said, "Okay, Mom, where do you want to go?" She had oxygen. She couldn't go very far. She said, "Well, let's go to the barn. I want to show you something." So anyway, we went to the barn. That's what Mom wanted to do. And we got away from the house and went to this barn where my mom kept all this stuff. She had all this stuff in her floral business and stuff and all these little things, stuff that y'all would love. But anyway, we're going through and she's going through every little item and she's showing me all these things and telling me, about what to do with this and what to do with that after she died. And I'm like, Mama, who cares? Who cares about this stuff? And all of a sudden we got to the back of the barn and there was this table covered by sheep. My mom sat down, she turned her oxygen up, she was about wore out. She said, "This is what I wanted to show you." And so I pulled back the drape, and there was this old, beat up oak table made of little bitty kind of, 12 by, 1 planks. It just looked like something that had been firewood. And I was in my mind, I'm thinking, Mom, you brought me all the way out here to show me this little old table? Has the chemo got to your brain or something? And she said, "No, son. No, son. That was your grandma and grandpa's table. And your great-grandpa made that table for your grandma and grandpa when they got married. And I spent my whole youth around that table." That changed when I heard that story and began to realize that my mother was trying to impart something in my life of value, something that transcended any kind of, thing. Just, she was sharing with me a memory of the past. Boy, that really changed the way that I saw my circumstances. And that's what the G factor does in our life. It doesn't, if you think about this equation, it doesn't undo the other equations. There's a lot of good things that you can read from self-help books. There's a lot of good principles that you can read. But what this does is that this completes those formulas. It completes those things in your mind. It actually satisfies and fulfills them. And the way that we begin this process of it begins with evidence, begins with understanding that there is there really is a third level of thinking. It begins with evidence, but it also moves into experience. And it's both of those things. And, in my relationship with God, I've noticed that it's kind of interesting. God seems to have a plan. Sometimes it's not the plan that I want. He has an outcome. And it's funny. It's like he initiates a plan, and then he begins to invite me along in the process.